So I'm looking at this article right now, and it says that the universe may hold 10 times more galaxies than we thought. So I'm having a little bit of a crisis.
I'm having a little bit of a crisis with that also, because what is 10 times more than infinite?
It says that there's at least 1 trillion galaxies out there, according to Huffington Post.
That's sick.
I agree.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I agree.
But also, I always thought there were infinite amount of galaxies, so, like, cool that there's a trillion, but, like, that's not 10 times more than I thought there were.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, it just was scientifically proven that that was what they could see. So now, according to, like, the Hubble Space Telescope and other places, they have proven that there's that many.
Billion galaxies.
A trillion.
Not even, like, planets, like, galaxies.
Yeah, it says that the number that they had originally thought was about 10 times too low.
That's the cool. Hey, Tangerine.
I know, I was just about to say, I was like, I bet Tangerine's shitting their pants right now.
That's so real. Tangerine, I hope you're having a lot of fun with this revelation. And also, who doesn't believe in aliens now? Like,
honestly, like, if you don't, I think that means that it's scientifically improbable and impossible at this point, right?
that's all. I bet that's true. I bet it's scientifically improbable that we are the only, like, intelligent life forms. Intelligent air quotes, but you know.
Yeah.
Also, today I was talking to Samantha on FaceTime audio, and I told her about this, like, moment where I, like, looked up the presidential candidates' stances on aliens.
Please.
And Samantha was like, just to clarify, you mean, like, illegal immigrants? And I was like, no, I mean, like, extraterrestrials. What?
Like, I just imagine you, like, turning into Professor Trelawney and being like, no, the beyond. Not being, like, racist, but just, like the beyond part of Bed Bath & Beyond.
Exactly. So that's cool because aliens, and also because aliens.
No, I agree. So that's where I'm at right now. How are you doing?
I'm pretty okay.
Yeah.
Allie made the most amazing Mexican food for dinner. She made taquitos.
I mean, they are technically called taquitos, but taqueritos I think is the more apropos. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. And see, I'm a vegetarian, so I'd literally never had a taquito before.
What?
I had to literally ask Brennan what those were. I got excited.
That was your first time having taquitos?
Yes.
They're usually deep fried, not baked.
Yeah, and that's what Brennan said too. Like, straight up when I got that text from you earlier where you're like, I'm gonna make guac and taquitos, I was like, and I, like, gasped and showed it to Brennan. I was like, I'm so excited.
Sure.
Yeah, did my Mexican food dance. And he was like, yeah, taquitos. And I was like, but wait, what is a taquito?
Oh my god. No, I thought you knew what taquitos were.
Nope. I was very pleasantly surprised at how good taquitos are.
Expanding your horizon of Mexican food and galaxies, one episode at a time.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should probably start this podcast now, huh?
Wait, we are recording, right, though?
We are.
Okay, good.
That's
I
correct.
Didn't know if I accidentally told you the Samantha story just twice in one day for no reason, or...
Oh my god, don't pull back the veil on the bit, Haley. Jesus. This is all new, brand new information. That actually was, because I was just reading my news before we started recording, and I didn't know that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like, some of this is real brand new information for us, so, like...
Hot off the presses. So.
Hot off the presses. Good morning, chaps and Chileans.
Oh my god. Our kinds of aliens, truly. Chileans. Wait, that's actually... Okay, no, but we have to call it Chileans and not Chileans, because Chileans are an actual...
People.
Yeah. So Chileans has to be like an office reference that are our listeners.
Yes, true. But also...
That means
Chileans.
there's an extra vowel in there that separates us from being Chilean.
But hold on, no. Chileans, if y'all are there too, I am blatantly pandering to y'all right now. Hi.
That would be
like
dope
you.
as fuck.
Yeah.
Actually, I would love that.
Real. Like, why are you tripping? I want everyone who listens to our podcast to be a Chilean. Chilean?
I would be so intrigued by that, because why... First of all, how? And second of all, you're reading a book from our high school teacher in Chile. That's dope as hell. Let's have a conversation. Let's get you on the podcast. I've got a few questions about that.
We can FaceTime audio it and include you. I know that now because Samantha and I did it earlier.
It is actually one of our Patreon perks, but we can talk about that later. Haley, are you drunk right now?
I'm not drunk.
Do you want to tell them why?
So last time I like drank almost a bottle of wine.
True.
And was a little tipsy, maybe even a little drunk at times.
I'm pretty sure you peed like 4 times during our recording, so I'd say a little bit more than a little.
Exactly. I peed like 4 times during our recording.
Sure.
And didn't feel like I was any funnier.
Wah, wah. Yeah.
So like sad, but also now I don't have to drink alcohol, which is, I like drinking alcohol, but also alcohol's so gross, you guys. And Allie and everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you because I don't particularly like alcohol.
Exactly.
Particularly, I mean, I don't like alcohol, so.
So it was a fun idea, but it didn't work out, and it might be something moving forward that I'll still play with, but not right now. So,
yeah. No, I agree. Haley, where are you in Afterlife right now?
So, in Afterlife, I am on chapter 12.
Love that.
Me too. It's been pretty great. It's been really, really hard to put down the last, like, day, because of course I haven't been reading. What?
Sure.
So then yesterday I was like, oh wait, shoot, I need to like start reading again for this podcast and make sure that I'm like
right.
have more things to say. And then I haven't stopped reading since that moment.
Would you say that you're more hooked than you were last week?
Absolutely, like
okay.
100%. There has been some interesting plot development, but more so some interesting, I don't know, some interesting things. Interesting ideas that Wescott has put out there that I've had to, like, think about and, like, feel and, like,
okay.
emotionally internalize. Also, on a side note, sorry, getting back to space, though, do you think we landed on the moon? Some people on Twitter were having this argument, like, some peeps of mine were having this argument on Twitter? Sure. And, like, they were arguing about whether it was faked or not. Allie, do you think the moon landing was faked?
No.
Okay.
I don't. But that also explains why you tweeted about that, because I was confused.
Yeah. So, like, lately, in the last few days, I've been just asking everybody if they think the moon landing was faked. So, like, also, Chileans...
But I do believe in conspiracy theories, and I'm down to talk about that.
Right? Chileans, I really need to know if all of you guys think the moon landing is faked.
So, I have a question. The very obvious one would just be to call them chaps. So, are we the chaps and they are the Chileans?
I didn't even think about calling
Are
them
you kidding
chaps.
me? Are you kidding me? That's literally... I thought that was the point.
I literally didn't even think about that. So I guess we are the chaps by default.
I think so.
I'm sorry, Chileans. I really could have been calling you chaps this whole time.
I mean, good luck with your autocorrect, because it's going to be like, did you mean Chileans? You're going to be like, no, I mean Chileans. Yeah.
Dang it.
I mean, I don't mind being called a chap, because I think that that's a pretty dope gender-neutral term, so...
Okay, except when I first got this idea of the chaps in Chile, you were way stressing about the chap thing. You were not stressing, but, like, you were not having it. You were like, meh, that's okay, I guess.
Well,
but,
because I didn't want it to be our podcast title, but I do think it's cool. I can dig it now.
Whatever.
I like that there's emojis for it. The books and the pepper.
Oh, yeah, the ones that you've been putting on our
Yeah.
They've been so cute. That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. I wish there was a
What did you think I was using them for?
Well, I mean, just like we like Mexican food and we're reading books. I don't know.
swear to Christ. So, I can't even... We couldn't make up this interaction if we tried.
That's true. Okay, let's just move forward.
Anyway.
So it seems like the last few times that we have podcasted, it seems like it has been convenient. We're just gonna ignore that sound.
Little pups.
It's been convenient to upload on Friday. Now, I hate sticking us into little boxes because, like, what if that doesn't work in the future? But it seems like we're doing Friday uploads. It seems like that is our thing.
Yeah, I mean, especially since you like the good morning thing, I think that the Friday uploads is the most effective.
I do it ironically. It's literally 8:30 at night right now.
Let's see. It's morning where?
In Chile? Could it be? No, it's in the... Never mind, but I thought it would be cool if it was...
South America.
I thought it would be cool if it was morning in Chile. Sue me.
Europe. Please don't. Please don't. It's just a commercial. Anyway.
There's this really cool commercial for new dog leashes.
Listen, we are not getting paid for this. We're not talking about things that we are not getting paid for.
It's called Thunder Leash.
I hate this. Hashtag not spawns. Haley. We've talked about our business acumen. We are not talking about things that we're not getting paid for.
Okay, moving on.
Yes, Friday uploads, it seems like, are the most effective thing moving forward, though.
And we have also not solidified what we're doing for November yet, but I still am leaning towards... Oh, dang it.
Oh, my Christ.
I didn't even mean it for that. I'm still... there's nothing else to say to replace that.
I'm pro lean in.
I'm also pro lean in. We think we're going to read the book Lean In for November for so many reasons.
Right.
But it's a piece of feminist propaganda that neither of us have read yet.
Yeah.
And it should be super fun. So that's what we're thinking.
I just think, why not at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why not just we're delving into our spiritual beliefs in the first one. Might as well go into our political beliefs in the second month.
Yeah. I'm currently singing that Why Not by Hilary Duff song in my head right now.
I cannot even gather that song in any way in my brain. You want to sing it for us on podcast?
No, because I'm not getting paid for it.
What? Oh, that's a fair point. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
So, basically, this book has been a lot about past lives. Obviously, it's called Afterlife, but, like, it's been a lot about what happens when you die, what happens when people die and then come back. So, like, Allie,
there's a lot of supernatural stuff going on. And it seems fitting, seeing as you're coming into the rising action component of this book, it'd be more fitting to do a miscellaneous episode right now. That way, as you move forward into the actual, like, deeper cuts of the book, we can do another theme and a character one.
Exactly. I'm sort of saving character development until the later few podcasts, because I don't think, in my 12 chapters out of, like, 30 some odd, there's been too much character development. I feel like that'll come later.
Especially when some of the chapters are like a page long or half a page long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of that we can talk about more effectively later on. So yeah, now just seems like a good episode to miscellaneously talk about our feelings about the book and our, just how we've been handling it and what we like and what we don't like, etc.
Well, and I think if there's one thing that the two of us have been talking about since we became friends, it's past lives.
And yeah, literally, reincarnation and past lives are like a fundamental component of our friendship just by virtue of the fact that we're both super interested in it.
Exactly. And so the fact that this is the first book that we're making a podcast about and it's something that we get to now talk about is something that's really valuable and just gives us a platform to discuss it. Because we've spent many a night through to the morning talking about these conversations and what we believe we have experienced before.
Literally, there has been many a high school gathering in your backyard on your trampoline just talking about, like, so what have we all been in our past lives?
Yeah, it's so real. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, the idea of that is something that is very fascinating. And so the fact that one of the characters in this is experiencing something like that, I think is a good segue to be able to talk about what we believe in it. So do you want to share, I don't know, what this book is dredging up for you?
Sure. So, needless to say, I sort of believe in past lives. I believe in reincarnation. I always have. I guess I always will, probably. The really interesting thing is that, so I think I briefly mentioned this either in our first podcast or last episode, I can't recall.
Mm-hmm.
But so I had a boyfriend who killed himself once.
Yeah, last episode.
Yeah. And it's been really interesting because I've been dealing a lot with that just by virtue of going through that in the last year and a half, 2 years.
Right.
So, it's giving me this space where I have to sort of think about what happens after you die in not an objective way, but in a more objective way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's super interesting. I still do think that when you die, you get reincarnated. Mm-hmm. And I still do think that, like, there's some time in between. Like, you don't just go straight from one life to the next. I think that there's some time in between where you are a ghost.
Right.
I believe in ghosties.
Yeah, no, I think that we have pretty similar beliefs on past lives and reincarnation, just in the sense of, like, we've talked about it enough over the years that I think that they've just kind of blended together in that sense. And it's interesting to see, because I don't think in any of our conversations that I've ever thought about the beginning stages of a new past life and like remembering old ones. And so the fact that that's where Soren is right now, of like he's remembering being Colton and being a young self. Whenever I assume my past lives, I just always assumed that I was the age when I was thinking about it. So I can imagine myself being 18 when we first started talking about it. I can imagine myself now being 22.
You think we started talking about this at 18? Girl, we were like 16.
Okay, well, whatever. But I never really gave much thought to the fact of like, what would I be settling into at 4? And like, what would have happened if I remembered these things, and how would I have been treated in different generations? Because it wouldn't have been the same, for sure.
And I guess the really interesting thing that this book is making me think about as well is I wish I could go back to being 4 years old.
Yeah.
And...
No, but yeah.
And sort of like know what I was feeling then. Because like, I do believe in a little bit in the fact that children have more access to their past experiences and past thoughts and past consciousnesses than we do at 18, at 20, at 22, etc. So I wish that I could either be 4 again and try to remember who I was, or I wish I could talk to my mom and be like, hey, when I was 4, what kind of a weird kid was I? Yeah. Like, was I the kind who went around saying, like, Mom, do you remember when I was drowned?
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Or, like, you know. So I wish that I had some availability to check in on young me and be like, yo, who were you in past lives?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and in that, I think it was chapter 7, there's that excerpt from the afterlife text that's given. Shout out to the dogs. Where it says that, like, if the child starts talking about these things, encourage them to keep talking because of the fact that the souls are transitory. Mm-hmm. And I haven't looked into it, but I just assumed that that was a fake book.
I assumed that it was a real book. That's funny.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out to the dogs. Shout out to the dogs.
Basically.
I'm just going to keep saying it louder. Shout out to the dogs. Really? You assumed that it was real? I just automatically assumed because it was in there that it was fake.
Yeah, so for all the Chileans out there who are reading along with us...
Shout out to the dogs.
For all the Chileans who aren't... Guys.
I think the dogs have a lot of feelings about past lives. It's great.
Well, his name is Bambi and Elvis, so, like...
I think they just have a lot of feelings, which is great.
Bambi and Elvis are both characters that have died.
Okay, that was a little too real, given that I have to sleep in this house, so thank you, but no.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Spooky.
So, as you were saying...
What was I saying?
You were talking about the afterlife book that's in the book.
So, Shelbi Wescott has done this really cool thing where she has quoted a book within a book, sort of like the John Green situation.
Sure.
And she, like, has this whole chapter where it's just a page out of this textbook, basically. Yeah, I totally assumed it was real because the things that are said in it are, like, very psychological. I don't know. They seem more... I don't know. Why did you think it was fake?
I just assumed that it was too perfect. Like, the fact that it was named Afterlife, like, the fact that it was so situated into, like, what she needed, I just assumed that it would be easier to write it and not have to worry about, like, copyright stuff than to have to search and make sure that it was okay to include it into the book.
That's fair, but I think the fact that it's the book is called Afterlife and the book that she quoted is called Afterlife, I think if she were going to create this, she wouldn't name it the same book as the book she's writing. You know, like, fair. I feel like it's too good to be that, you know what I mean? Like, if she were going to create a fake book within a book, she would have named it, like, Knowing Your Past Lives or something.
Oh my god. No, I think that that's fair. I'm going to look it up and see if it's real, because I'm curious now.
Do it. The other interesting point that this book has sort of talked about is the idea of ghosts, because, you know, this cute little boy is, at some point in the text, he says that he sees his little brother's ghosts standing over him. Yeah, which is super creepy, but also it forced me and some people to have a conversation about, like, do you want to be haunted by your loved ones? like, if your brother died, would you want him to come creepily stand over your bed at
It's
night?
most definitely not real.
It's not real?
It's not real. There's nothing about it on the internet at all.
Interesting.
The person or the text.
Cool. Okay, so you were totally right. Wescott, I have a question then. Why did you name your fake book the same thing as your real book?
Maybe it kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week in the sense of that campfire tale. That if it's Mara creating this book, right? In the sense that, like, she's not the one technically writing the book, but I'm imagining more so in that, like, campfire tale sense that she calls her experience Afterlife.
Given that she read this book that was
called Afterlife.
Okay, that's fair. Like, it was a Mara choice more than a Wescott choice.
Yeah.
That's an interesting theory, and I kind of like it. So that makes sense. Wescott, you're off the hook.
But yes, anyway, ghosts and loved ones haunting you. I logically don't like it, but am not afraid of no ghosts, so I don't mind it.
Elaborate on that one way more than you did.
Well, I don't like the idea of my loved ones being stuck in a veil where they can haunt folks that are currently alive and residing. But I also love ghosts, and I have a lot of feelings about ghosts. And so the idea of people trying to communicate with me is not something that I am afraid of nor opposed to. You're making a lot of faces over there, Haley.
I'm not. She's lying. So it's weird, again, with the fact that I had a boyfriend who killed himself. Because, like, I always sort of wished that he would come back and, like, air quotes, haunt me. You know, like, prove in some way that there is something after death. You don't just disappear into the void.
Right.
Like, I would have really liked that comfort. But at the same time, I am super afraid of ghosts. Like, there's almost nothing in the universe I'm as afraid of as I am ghosts.
So you talked about the fact last time that you weren't afraid of, like, demons and stuff, but ghosts?
Yep.
Interesting.
True.
So the idea is that both of those reside from human souls. Mm-hmm. But one is just more further along than the other.
I don't know. Like, I guess practically I would be afraid of demons, sure. But just, like, the concept of demons is never scary. Like, you went to hell and you're just, like, pissy about it. I don't know. Cool.
Okay.
I don't know. I just never see demons being, like, a practical struggle in my life.
See, whereas I watch, like, every ghost show that there is available because I love paranormal stuff.
There's just something so creepy about, like, okay, so if a demon is in my home, right, he's probably trying to kill me.
Most likely, yeah.
Fair. And he either will or will not succeed. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, will you stop looking at the corner of the ceiling? What is happening? Okay. But, like, he either will or will not succeed, but either way, it'll be done, and it'll be done soon.
Right.
Okay. The ghost, though, they're the ones that you just, like, the light turns on, and you blink, and you're like, oh my god, what the fudge monkeys was that? Like, there's nothing that could happen. You're just gonna live your life infinitely coexisting in a space that you know has a ghost.
Well, I mean, you don't always have to coexist with spirits. I mean, there are ways to not. But the idea of... So is it the idea of, like, non-malevolent spirits that are just, like, hanging around that bothers you?
I don't know. It's just the idea that, like... Yeah, I guess the fact that other souls are just, like, living their lives also, or, like, even trying to communicate with me. So I watched this horror movie because it's October, and this woman ghost was, like, being creepy. But it was all in, like, she's trying to communicate. And, you know, I don't know, it's just, like, the people get freaked out and they scream and run away, and that would suck, and I don't want to do that to another soul. But also, please don't just jump out at me and make creepy faces at me. Like... Please don't do that. It's just very Beetlejuice-esque. Like, I get it, you're probably nice and you're probably cool, and you're probably just trying to live your life, but also you're being real weird. I need you to be real weird away from me. Sort of the same way I feel about spiders, honestly.
Okay, that's fair. I have pretty negative feelings about spiders, but I have neutral to no feelings about ghosts. Neutral to positive, I would say, feelings about ghosts. But, I mean, that's also given my experience with the supernatural, and, like, I wonder if that has to do with my feelings about, like, intuition as well. Like, my
what
feelings
are you
about,
feeling
like,
about intuition?
Well, like, when I get feelings, and I definitely value those, either when I have them or when other people have them. Mm-hmm. and the sensations that you get in those moments. So valuing your hair standing on your arm, or like the feeling that you get on the back of your neck, or if you just have this odd sensation about like a person or an event or something. I don't know. I think those things are really valuable to me personally, and I value those more than logic sometimes, I would say.
I would agree that you value those more than logic sometimes. Honestly, mostly to your, what's the opposite of detriment? To your benefit, I suppose.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, when you have those weird feelings and you're like, I'm going to go with my gut even though logic is telling me the opposite, it works out for you. And that's cool, but I live my life trying to avoid those feelings. I'm like, yucky, this is unexplainable. I am not want.
Yeah, I think that we're very much the opposite in that way. We're like, if I feel that, I go towards it. And I'm like, I'm going to try to explore that a little bit. And you're like, no, thank you.
Someone else. So I'm the person in the horror movie who's like always whispering to the people around me. I'm like, why are they going in there? Well, sure, follow the freaking weird noise. Like, I'm the person who, if like the door slammed in here, I would just leave. Like, I don't care. Bye. You're obviously dealing with your own stuff, house or ghost or whatever.
Right.
I'm not gonna be a part of it. I'll come back when you've finished.
So, do you think that your opinions, because it sounds like your opinions on aliens and ghosts are very different, where you're like, ghosts, yes, because science, or no, aliens, yes, because science, ghosts, no, because nah. So do you feel like those translate in any other way?
I actually would disagree with your initial point. I think they're the same.
Really?
I don't know if I would be super afraid of aliens because I've never had to confront the possibility that they're like here, you know? But I am cool with ghosts. I believe the ghosts exist, and I'm cool with them in theory. Just like stay away from me.
Okay.
And aliens exist in theory and in practicality, but like in theory, but they're staying away from me. So like they're cool.
So you don't want to actually interact with them when they do come here?
I don't know, but probably not. Just
really?
Like given my own personality. Again, I've never had to face that question, but like just instinctually, probably nah.
Why? Because I definitely want to know. Like, I want to hang out with those peeps.
Why?
I'm curious. I want to know how they communicate and what they do and how their societies work, and I just want to know.
You're gonna go talk to them and then write a whole bunch of books about it, probably, and then I could just read those books instead.
They might not talk, but
yeah, but like, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that that's a fascinating thing to explore. And if they do come here, it's better to treat it with open-mindedness than fear.
Totes my goats. Honestly, I agree with that. And I think there is something very close-minded about the way that I view outsiders as a whole. Like, I try my best to be really inclusive, like, about a person-to-person, on a person-to-person basis. But yeah, anything that I'm unfamiliar with, obviously it's a human reaction to be, like, uncomfortable with it. And I just never bother to get comfortable with it if it doesn't negatively impact me or anyone else around me, you know?
Yeah. I always personally forget that aliens and ghosts are technically considered conspiracy theories, because I always just consider them a part of my reality.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking to anybody else, they're like, wait, those are just like fallacies. They're not real things. And so I guess as a human being, I am a conspiracy theorist, which is fine. I'm cool with it.
But like, how far do you go in the conspiracy theory hole of theories?
I don't know how I feel about the Mothman. It's a northeastern, like New Jersey kind of area one. Mm-hmm. I think that it'd be cool for the Yeti to be true, just because I think that a lot of people have a lot of feelings about it. Same with Sasquatch, but I think that Sasquatch is more real in the Northwest, just because I think that we have a lot of creepy things here. And
Northwest is spooky.
Yeah, it's true. And I wouldn't doubt it. Like, I wouldn't put it past our area, even if it's more so like Canada-esque. I definitely think that there's stuff up with Area 51. The Loch Ness Monster is definitely real, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Okay.
Because you can't prove to me that the things that happen in the sea don't exist.
Okay, in theory, I agree with you. In practicality, you're wrong as all get out. Because, like, yeah, there are definitely deep-sea creatures we don't know anything about.
Right.
Confirmed. But Loch Ness is not the ocean. It's a relatively small space that people have, like, sonared and, like, seen what's there. Like, it's not... The Loch Ness Monster does not exist.
Well, I don't necessarily agree that the Loch Ness Monster exists in the loch, but I think that the Loch Ness Monster exists. Like, I think that in the sea somewhere, that the thing that they see exists.
Like the dinosaur-looking long neck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, sure.
Because I think that the sea is one of the most spooky things that exists in the world. But I definitely, like, if somebody's passionate about these things, like, I'm definitely one of those first people to be like, yeah, sure, I believe it. Time orbs, time dimensions, like, I'm here for it. Tell me about it.
I guess I sort of am too. Like, I believe in Sasquatch because I live in the Pacific Northwest and because I've seen our forests, and you don't even have to step in a Pacific Northwest forest to be like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff going on in there that I don't know about.
Exactly.
But the thing I have a problem with, honestly, is the Yeti here. Like, I don't understand why it would exist. I don't understand why evolutionarily it would evolve. And I don't understand why we wouldn't see it. Like, does it only exist in blizzards? Like, I don't understand the logic behind the Yeti.
Yeah, I think that I'm just curious about, like, why that one is such a big deal for people. Like, is it the Eastern world Sasquatch because it is supposed to exist in, like, the Himalayas? Like,
okay,
what? I don't know. But anything that people are just, like, super passionate about and have a lot of, like, faux evidence, I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'll believe you.
That's fair.
Show me, like, a long Tumblr post with, like, decent links, and, like, I'm on board. Shout out to the dogs.
Well, that one was a cat, too.
True.
Well, the cat was being attacked, so I don't know if that counts. So, like, I mean, I don't know. I believe 9/11 was an inside job. No, I don't believe 9/11 was an inside job. But I do believe that 9/11, whatever. Moving forward.
I do believe 9/11 happened.
I believe 9/11 happened, and
I don't know if that's necessarily conspiracy theory, though.
That's fair. I also believe that our government didn't stop it, actively didn't stop it. I don't know if they planned it or whatever, but whatever. I don't know. I just don't know how conspiracy theorist I would call myself.
I mean, I don't...
the Earth is flat?
What?
Do you believe the Earth is flat?
No.
Okay.
No.
You're like... So, whenever I think about conspiracy theories...
Sure.
I'm down to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah.
If you can answer me this one question, really. Like, if you can delve deep in your soul and answer me, why would it benefit... the man, like, why would it benefit the people you think are hiding this from us for us not to believe it? Like, that's my problem. I've never taken the flat earth people seriously because who would it benefit and why would it benefit them for us to believe the earth was round when it's really flat?
So, like, those Twitter celebrities that were trying to prove that the earth was flat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one doesn't make any sense to me. Especially because when you are, like, out in the sea, you can, like, the horizon looks curved. So, like, it doesn't make sense to me.
No.
But I don't know. That's a good question to ask because I wouldn't know how to properly phrase that with some of them.
Exactly, and I don't think if you can answer that question it has any validity. I think there are some that you really can, like the moon landing. I think that's a valid one to think about because there are a lot of reasons that the government, like the government, but like
right.
The government would want us to believe that, even if it weren't true.
Wait, so believe that it's... So, like, Sasquatch.
Okay.
Believe...
that he exists. Like, why would the government not want us to believe Sasquatch exists? Why are they going through this effort to cover it up?
Oh.
And see, that one I can even believe because the government could be covering it up because humans are afraid of things that it could be predators to them. And, we would go and seek them out and hunt them. And
yeah,
maybe because they would shake our belief in the control we have over Mother Nature. Like, there are reasons for the government to not want us to believe that.
Do you think that conspiracy theories delves into, like, apocalypse preparedness and stuff, like, are those the same kind of people? Like, the people that are, like, prepared for the big one that's supposed to happen in the Pacific Northwest, you know? Like, are those usually the same kind of people?
You know, I'd never made that connection, but I think maybe they are. Because I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist. I believe some things, and I have some gallons of water in my house. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't have my bomb shelter set up, but I am prepared with enough water to maintain me, you know.
Yeah. Because I would say those are both the kinds of people that would be actively on forums and talking about those kinds of things.
That I disagree with, because my brother has a full-scale plan for the zombie apocalypse. A genuine plan.
Well, not the smart ones that would share, like, the smart ones. Shout out to the dogs. Hi, guys. The smart ones wouldn't divulge their plans online. But I think that the people that would, like, actively be talking about conspiracy theories would probably be the ones who are, like, the zombies kind of thing.
That's fair.
Shout out to the dogs. Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, this conversation got a little bit off track, but conspiracy theories. So basically, aliens. And I wish that we could, like, input that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, anyways, good dogs. Good job.
Thank you so much for interrupting this podcast. It's really kind of you. Thank you.
But I mean,
Thank you.
they've sort of done us a service, because we did get off track and start talking about conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I think that they were a good little bell to be like, hey, can you get back on track? Thank you.
Exactly. So I think that's pretty much a good place to end our podcast.
For all the spoopy stuff for October.
Yeah. Spoopy.
Yeah. Thank you, Haley.
You told me not to do that earlier, like, already, but I did it anyways.
Yeah, you did.
Great.
So we do have a few more places to listen to our podcast since the last time that we uploaded.
So SoundCloud is still a hard yes. iTunes is still a hard yes. Podbean, though, Kate, and all you Podbean listeners out there, I'm really sorry. I tried to make it happen, but it's not going to happen. You either have to upload to Podbean or submit the RSS feed or whatever, but you can't submit an RSS feed unless you pay a lot of money for Podbean, and you can't upload more than like 4.5 seconds without also paying a lot of money for Podbean.
Yep.
So it's something that maybe we can look forward to in the future if, you know, we have Patreon subscribers at some point, or if we're making money from this podcast, or if we're not super broke. But as of now, I don't work, so that's not happening for a while.
Yeah, until the time when Patreon takes off a little bit more, or we start getting ads for this podcast. Right now, SoundCloud, iTunes, and then we did start uploading our episodes fully onto YouTube as well. So that is going to be a good space. One of the things that I need from anybody who listens to these and has some time on their hands, if you are willing to submit captions for those so that we can have a full transcript of our podcast, that would be dope, and I would sincerely appreciate it, and we can shout you out on the podcast as well.
That's true. We totally can. Also, I think that it's really important that for this episode, the background of our YouTube video is the guy being like, aliens.
Okay, I will do that.
Great. I really think it's really important to me.
Okay, we will do that.
So you can contact us to let us know that you have captioned our videos, or, you know, just to talk to us about past lives and stuff. You can get in contact with us. I already said that.
Yeah.
At Twitter, and our handle is at chapters and chill.
Correct.
You mistyped that on our little thingamajiggy.
You pasted the outline, so I didn't do anything.
Fair point. So chapters N, the letter N, chill,
Yes.
is our handle on Twitter.
And we have decided that if you are listening to the podcast and you want to live tweet it or just share it with us, the best tag to use is Chaps and Chili. That's the one that we're using.
Absolutely. Yep, it's perfect.
Yep.
We also do have a Tumblr that we post some things on, chaptersandchill.tumblr.com.
Yep.
I'm usually on there playing around, so you want to tag us in some stuff.
That would be good.
Be swell.
Book suggestions or anything like that.
Exactly.
It's
Or
always
you
a good
can
space.
ask or make submissions, etc., etc.
The Slack is going to be a really good one, especially coming into maybe next month when we start having some like discussion questions too. So the Slack that we have is chaptersandchill.slack.com. Shout out to the dogs. They really care about Slack. So that's going to be a good space.
And like, so do we. And also I think it's a really good place for you to talk to us about.
Shout out to the dogs.
Yep.
Shout
Talk
out
to
to
us
the dogs.
about your past lives. Sure. If you know, please do.
Yeah.
But talk to us about your past life feelings and all the spooky thoughts that you have. Oh, also seriously, you guys, please answer me this question. Would you want your loved ones to haunt you? I need to know ASAP.
I feel like haunt is not the apropos word to use in that phrase, but...
Okay, but visit, like, what? Do you want your brother to visit you? Like,
Yeah.
Of course I don't.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine. So we do have our Patreon set up. We didn't have it fully set up last week, but we do now. It's patreon.com/chaptersandchill. We're using any of the money that comes through that for our hosting costs. So eventually SoundCloud is going to be like, hey, so we need you to pay to upload this. Shout out to the dogs. And we don't want to do that. We would like any monetary support that we can get. So that would be great. And until we get ads, any listener support would be amazing. And we've set up rewards that it can be even as low as $1 a month.
Exactly. So that would be way, way helpful and beneficial for us and everyone who wants to listen on other platforms, etc.
Yep.
You can also email us with any questions, concerns, comments, etc. at allieandhaleyreed@gmail.com.
Yep.
That's ALLY and HAYLIE.
Yep.
read@gmail.com.
Yep.
And as per usual, I think that we should end this podcast with and you know, I feel ghosts in this Chili's tonight.
Oh, damn. You switched it up this time.
I did. Not quite a Pam quote anymore, but way more apt for today's episode.
So are you going to switch it up every month then?
Dude, I was thinking about it because
I feel Sheryl Sandberg in this Chili's tonight.
well, and I also think I might do a different Office quote because there's like when Michael Scott is like, oh, how the turntables.
One of my favorites.
I really want to include that in this podcast.
No,
so,
I
like,
think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something to consider. And so since this dog is licking my toes, I'm going to also go, and I feel God in this Chili's tonight.
Bye.
Bye.